Hello, can you hear and see me all right? Fantastic. Okay, well, let's dive straight in, shall we? So, today we're going to be looking at the Castelfranco altarpiece, also known as the Castelfranco Madonna. Now, this is done in 1505, which would make it part of what era? The Renaissance. You're absolutely right. And this is by Giorgione. Wonderful. Now I'm hoping we can use this piece to discuss stylistic and compositional techniques, so we can practice your analysing, and then also we're going to be able to use it as an example of patronage in your exam. So patronage means what? Patronage is when an individual commissions a piece of work, whether that's painting, sculpture, or even a building. And that can be for a whole host of reasons, to display their wealth as a gift, or in this particular case, it's to commemorate an individual. So with this in mind, this piece was commissioned by Tutor Costanzo. Okay, and he commissioned this piece to commemorate the death of his 23-year-old son, Matteo, who died serving the Italian army in 1503. He died of a fever. So Tutor Costanzo commissioned this piece so it could hang in the family chapel to provide a place for the family to come and grieve and commemorate the memory of his son and the sacrifice he gave for his country. Tutor Costanzo was a Sicilian nobleman, so very wealthy, and you can see here in the bottom of the panel, that sort of circle here. Can you see that? Yeah, that is the coat of arms of the Costanzo family. And if we zoom in, it's got ribs, 6 ribs. And that is to do with Giorgione doing a play on words, because Costanza in Italian means rib. So Costanzo, like the family name, that's how that works. Now, let's have a look. This is an oil on panel piece. If I'm going too quickly or you have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to repeat anything. So with this in mind, looking at the piece, is there anyone you can identify? Absolutely, that is Mary and Jesus at the top. Very good. And I'm even more impressed by that because she's not in her classical blue and white colours, is she? Which we normally see her in different, especially Renaissance pieces. She's in red and green. Now, not only does that make her very harmonious with the background, because what are the predominant colours we can see? Red, green, a little bit of grey, and a bit of blue in the sort of idyllic background. But overall, the predominant colours are red and green. And the reason Mary's in red and green also is symbolic by Giorgione of some values. So green is typically associated with fertility. White is associated with purity, which highlights the virgin birth and Mary as pure. And then red, the tumbling of that red drapery, which is very tactile in nature, echoed again in that sort of red velvet wall that we can see that separates our figures from the background. Red highlights Christ's passion. It's associated with that Christ's passion being his crucifixion and that sort of blood-esque idea. That's typically what that's associated with. So Giorgione's clearly employed those ideas in that, potentially to echo Matteo Costanzo's sacrifice for his country, to echo that of Christ's. And then what else? So let's have a look. Can you identify who these two figures are? It's a little bit more difficult, but this is Saint Liberalis, or according to most recent art historical findings, this could be Saint Nicasius. Right, now they are both martial saints, right? So they highlight Matteo's military background, the family's military background, as Tuzio Constanzo was part of the Knight of Jerusalem group. So that highlights, and he's actually holding that flag of the Knights of Jerusalem. So that highlights the familial significance of that saint. And then on the right, we have Saint Francis, who is demonstrating, as he's reaching out of the painting to invite us into looking at the figures. And that highlights the more contemplative life, because for young men, such as Matteo, there are sort of two paths for him to go down. One, down the military route, or potentially the more contemplative route of becoming a monk and living in a monastery. So that's what we have here. Now, is there anything else we can spy? Let's talk about the light. So we can see that there's quite a sort of gentle light over the painting, can't we? It's very idyllic, Arcadian background, and that is because Giorgione was very influenced by Ovid's Metamorphoses and Virgil. So we can understand that sort of endless expanse of poetic and romantic landscape. But that light is very gentle, very soft, peaceful, which will just enhance that sort of calmness of the altarpiece and solemnness, I suppose, which is echoed in the fact that down at the bottom where we saw that crest here, that echoes a sarcophagus. And we can see Mary's on a throne above that sarcophagus, as if to reiterate the commemorative aspect of the piece. So it's a very gentle light, and that is to do also with Giorgione's technique of alla prima technique. But also, I'll make sure I spell this correctly, pittura senza disegno. Now, pittura senza disegno means that he painted these figures without drawing them first, which gives them a really soft quality, soft, meditative quality. Okay, now, can you tell me about the composition, please? Absolutely. So we've got our three figures in a triangular composition, right? Now there's a special name for this, and it echoes a piece that I'm going to show you now here, which is by Bellini. That's not there, but we'll just ignore that for now. So this is a piece by Bellini, and can you see how similarly it's Mary and Jesus on a throne, as we see here? Mary and Jesus on a throne, or a catafalque, as it's also called. Throne/catafalque. It's a nice little A-star gem for you to throw in. See how we've also got that triangular composition. We also see it here. Now, that is called a Sacra Conversazione composition, which highlights how Mary is cut off from us at the bottom. She's part of that heavenly kingdom as the Queen of Heaven, in that celestial zone, And drawing our eye up there also draws our eye out into the background. Okay, well, we'll keep analysing that, but we're out of time on our 10-minute lesson. But we'll keep analysing it, and I will send you a practice question to do. Fantastic, and of course feel free to ask me any questions. Brilliant. Okay.